So the plan for today is actually to go through our future experimental garden plot and look for all remaining bramble roots and especially clematis roots. So I have a lot of clematis in this garden, which is at times very beautiful, but unfortunately it's also quite invasive. They have super strong roots and suckers, and since we want to make a no-dig garden, meaning we don't turn over the soil in any way, I'm just going to loosen it lightly with a broad fork. And then, much like in a lasagna, we're gonna start with the virgin soil if you want. On top of that is gonna be cardboard, after that some leaves, then a thick layer of compost, or unfortunately not so thick because we don't have that much of it. And then on top again there is going to be freshly chipped wood as a mulching layer. However, this works very well in suppressing, grasses and some perennials, but it doesn't work that well if you have really strong roots like the one from brambles and clematis. So now I have to go through it and look for the roots and dig them up. Found the brick. There used to be my parents' old and first garden here, and they laid some paths with some bricks, and now I'm just digging them up. But it also shows that we're really fortunate with soil here when it comes to soil. It's very loamy. I haven't tested it, but I'm guessing it's also quite basic when it comes to pH level. And I also just found a bunch of earthworms in here. So those are bramble roots. Do you see what I mean? They are huge and they have a lot of power. And here they are already the new young shoots for the new year. And so I have to get rid of them for the garden. I mean, we have a lot of brambles everywhere in the hedgerows and so, and there I love them, but not here because it would be a pain to remove them once everything is planted on top. Taking advantage of the last daylight here and the beautiful sunset, I'm trimming the wild hedgerow right next to the garden. I put a lot of work into this hedgerow during Corona times because I already had planted a garden some years ago, just an experimental one, and I saw one of the biggest issues in this garden is that it's very dry, or that at least it gets very dry during summertime. And since there are fields right next to it on the left and the right side, the wind can blow through freely and really dry out the soil like crazy. So I thought, okay, we really need a wind barrier, and that's exactly what I did. I laid the hedgerow, of course not in any way professional, but a lot of experimentation going into it, especially since there is also a wire fence back to the back of it, so I wasn't able to cut it as low to the ground as I wanted to. But still, it's been growing ever since and is thriving actually. It contains a ton of species. There is an ash tree, there is a lot of field maple, there are of course brambles, there are of course clematis, but then there is even a willow back there. There is hawthorn, there are roses, wild roses growing in there. There are cherry plums. There are so many species in this wild hedgerow. And why do I even call it wild? I have all these species growing in it, and I don't trim it to any kind of rectangular shape or whatever. I just trim it back a little bit for one to stay in somewhat in a shape, but not like in a predefined shape. But then also to make it grow even denser over the years. And then thirdly, this ash branch, for example, is new wood, so it just grew in 1 year, and it's ramial wood, so it's very high nutrients compared to the trunk of a tree. And I use it to fertilize my garden. So the hedgerow serves a ton of purposes, and I just love hedgerows in general. They're a really beautiful tool to connect the landscape and to connect one ecosystem to another. They're almost like highways for our wildlife, you would say, and insects and fungi and really everything. They're really an biodiversity haven. But I have to finish cutting it before the daylight is gone completely. That's probably it for today. Next is going to put up the fence. That's a major operation, but that's something where I need a whole day to do it. So see you in the next video, and I'm gonna continue trimming the hedge. Cheers!